What's going on, guys? This is Derek with FitnessVolt.com. Today I'm being joined by the one, the only, the strong but pretty, perhaps the best beard in all of strongman, Robert Oberst.
Thank you.
How are we doing, Robert?
It's and pretty, though, because it's like it's not contrasting information saying someone's strong and they're pretty. So I think a lot of strength is beauty. So it's strength and beauty. Yeah.
That's quite profound. I appreciate you taking the time to speak with us. About 24 hours out from the world's strongest man. How are we feeling?
Feeling great, man. I did this year really well. I'm in Idaho, and I drove down to Reno for the last 10 days of prep. And then Reno's about an hour and a half from hotel that we're staying at for Worlds. So I feel like it just couldn't have gone better. I'm rolled right in. Everything's great. The weather's great. Everyone from Europe is dying of the heat, which makes me feel awesome. So it's perfect.
Yeah, I had spoken to JF Caron earlier. He, as you know, is coming from Quebec. He was telling me that that this year it could be a matter of who's toughest more than who's strongest, just because that heat's going to be crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. And with the group of guys we've got in the events and everything, it's definitely going to be a gut check. You know, it's going to be a good year.
Speaking of the events, we got a bunch of different things going on. We got that Titans turntable that's going to be really exciting. How are you feeling about the event lineup this year?
The Titans turntable specifically, I am so confident in that. Like I've spent more time in my life pushing football sleds than anything else. I think if you were to like take all of my work in the gym, it's about like this, right? And then all my work pushing a sled on the field, it's like this. And so I feel very confident in that specific event. Everything else looks great. I love that. This year we're going to do a train pull. I've never been able to do that. You know, we've got the single fingers back, and we've got this crazy medley that we're starting things off with. I love when the medleys are heavy and hard, and people look at that and they're like, holy crap, I understand how heavy that is, but I don't think I could do it. That's the kind of stuff I like. When we're running too far with weights that I feel like, you know, your average strong guy could carry, it kind of turns me off to it. I want it to be like this will squash any guy in your normal gym kind of thing, you know? So I'm very happy with the events. I'm happy with the weights. I wish JF Caron was in a different group because that Canadian is strong, but you know, it is what it is. We'll go swing and we'll see who goes out first.
Yeah, you guys definitely have a tough group to get through this year. It's one of the toughest, I would say.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the groups. I think they're very well split up. I really feel like this year, all the groups, they've got, you know, at least 3 guys that are like top tier contenders in each group. So
yeah, that's kind of what JF was saying. It's like this year, it's really hard to look at it and get a prediction of who's going to come out on top. Because, right. You know, some years you look at it and you're like, oh, you know, this is going to be interesting, but these 2 are probably going to make it to the final. This year, you don't really have any groups like that.
Right. And with like I was saying, with the heavier load medley and stuff like that, you don't know. So my group has a lot of the fastest loaders with Luke and Misha and JF. Those guys are known as quick load runners. And so I feel like throwing in that really heavy frame at the end of the load really kind of put us all on even playing ground. So a lot of those guys might get the implements up on the table before me, but if they drop that frame coming back, you bet your ass I'm going to catch them. So I feel like this year it's not only are the groups split up really well, but the events are made in a way that you're really going to find out who's the best prepared, who's the top dog on the day, you know?
Now, you had mentioned that the fingers are coming back. You leading up to it, you were having a little bit of fun with Brian Shaw. I couldn't help but catch that on social media. And you guys ended up training together a little bit too. What was that like heading into this contest? How did that help you out?
Oh my gosh, working with Brian is always such a benefit. Not just like the normal benefit you get from training with somebody who's great, right? But Brian is also like this mental giant. You know, you go in there, Brian watched me do stones for 5 minutes and was like, hey, do this, this, and this. And then all of a sudden my stone jumped like 12%. Like it was like, oh my God, like 5 seconds. I'm a 10-year pro and Brian helped me out that much. Like it's insane. So for me, it was extremely beneficial. And also Brian's up in elevation, like really, really, really high elevation. His mountain house is 2,000 feet above Denver, which is mile high. And so going out there, running around, I really got a good gut check on my cardio and everything. I was way too big. I was about 440. Came home, still had over a month, and now I'm about 405. And I feel like that transition is going to make the difference between me getting to the finals and where I would have probably not been able to do as well if I would have came in 5 weeks ago.
And Sacramento's pretty close to sea level, so I know probably having that acclimation to that high altitude will just make it easier for you to handle the cardio down.
For sure.
Now, that being said, at the end of the day, as much as you and Brian are friends, you guys are going to war essentially this week.
Yeah.
Where are you going to beat Brian Shaw?
I won't see him till the finals, and then in the finals, I think I got a good shot at taking him in some of the events. I think in the turntables, I don't want to sound too braggadocious, but I feel like out of everybody here and anybody in Strongman, I feel like that turntable is my event. Just like I feel like that keg toss for height is Shaw's event. I feel like I'm right there. I trained with him, and I know I'm like a good couple feet below him, but I think everyone else is going to be a couple feet below me. Like I know where the world record is, and I know for a fact. Well, we're close to show, so I can say it. I know for a fact that I can easily break the world record, but I also know that Brian can easily break my record by 3 or 4 feet. So, you know, but we got that, and then we got the max log. I feel very confident in that. Been feeling really good. And then I like the medley in the finals when it's yoke frame like that. I very much like heavy moving events where you really have to have that strength in your core. Like when the frame's up over 800 and the yoke's up over 950, it's perfect for me. I love that. And then, you know, we got the stones and we got the deadlift. I think Brian, I don't want to put too much, blow too much smoke up his skirt, but I feel like Brian will win the keg toss. Brian will win the stone. Brian will win the I think he'll get top couple in the medley, and I think he'll get second place in the turntable.
Now you were saying
in the finals.
You were saying that the keg toss is where you have a solid shot of hitting the world record. Is that what
I can break the world record easily in keg toss.
Were you doing that in training?
Yes, but
how high did you go?
Pretty high.
Can you give like an estimate?
Under 20. I think 23.9 is the world record, and I don't know. I don't know how much I can tell. But
it's just you and me, Robert. You know, we're friends here.
Nobody's gonna watch this. We're just in private. I'd say me specifically, I'm probably good 26 feet ish, 27 feet. But my best was still beaten by a couple feet by Brian. And so I don't know. It also, you never know too, like maybe Tom shows up and Tom all of a sudden can hit a high keg. I know Tom was training with the heavier kegs, so watching his throws, you don't really get to see how high he can hit. It's possible. I think Tom's the only one who is in that range of possible threats. But again, too, like, these are all just words. None of this even matters. We get out there and I could look like a total idiot and, like, you know, somebody random like JF Carone come out there and just have a beast of a day.
You also have a bunch of lesser known competition coming into this one. I think it's like 3 people who are making their World's Strongest Man debuts or something like that.
Oh, okay. That's true. We also the freshman class from last year was stout.
Hmm.
They were stout, and I
Hmm.
think the those boys are going to be making waves for a while. And you look, and Evan Hansman, or sorry, Evan Singleton he's. I think he's going to be making splashes for a while, quite a
Mm.
bit.
Another one of the younger generation that tried to compete last year, he ended up having some health issues, forcing him out. Gabriel
Yeah.
Pena.
Yep.
He's going for a world record. I believe it's in August. He's going for the deadlift world record, trying to break Thor's 501.
Oh wow.
How do you think he'll do with that?
Gosh, he's a puller. He's a big puller. He's very smart. He's dedicated and works his butt off. He's one of them guys that just loves the grind. One of them sick bastards who enjoy this thing. And he's all about it. All about it. And also, I love it. I love it when guys come in and they've got these sweethearts and they're so ferocious, but like when you hang out with them, they're just super cordial and nice. And his girlfriend's like a sweetheart too. Like they're like the nicest people walking around the hallways. Every time we see him, we want to say hi. So I really hope he does. I really hope he pulls it. I really hope he does it the proper way with a competition and not in gym setting, or at least if it's in a gym, have four other guys pulling so we can say it's still competitive.
Seems like you're talking about something specific there. Is there something on your mind with the deadlift world record?
No. We love home gym heroes here for sure.
Now, speaking of your best friend Thor, he is, of course, set to fight Eddie. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about that. So let me ask you this. What's going to be a better fight, Thor versus Eddie or Logan versus Floyd?
Well, we already got to see Logan versus Floyd. So if it's that bad, I'm going to be very disappointed in both those boys. I do want to say I don't dislike Thor at all. And for him, what happened with him, I understand a lot more than the other 400 guys who decided that during the lights being shut off, it was a perfect time to do a world record in their home gym. Those guys pissed me off. Thor had Magnus for Magnuson. Thor had all the right plays, all the right people. He was also going for a record way before the lights got shut off, way before the restrictions came out, all that stuff. I don't agree with him still doing it, but his situation makes so much more sense than 14 guys getting to try and break the log press record. Like all that was just literally like trying to steal the show when nobody else could compete. Like that was totally disrespectful in my point of view. The way Thor did his lift, it seemed like a guy who had busted his ass and was like, look, I'm going to pull this. I'm going to do it. And is what it is. To me, you can't really fault that. I don't agree with it, but it is what it is. The guy, it's the heaviest pull from the ground ever been done. You can't argue with it. Nobody's going to say Magnus lied or any of that shit. We all know it's real. So I don't look at what Thor did as the same as what all the other little followers did after him.
Right. So I know some people looked at it as because Thor kind of opened the door with that, having everybody else kind of legitimize the fact that he set the world record. But you feel like it's the opposite, huh? Where everybody else was kind of copying and it's less legit because these people decided afterwards, after the pandemic started, after we couldn't do competition, now's the chance for me to go for a world record.
I still disagree with it, with both. I still disagree with Thor's being considered a record just because you got to look. When Eddie broke that record, he literally did it in front of hundreds of thousands or in front of thousands of people. And the guy, two guys before him passed out on the bar and bled all over the place. And then you've got to suck it up, step up to that bar and do it. Mm-hmm. That's competition. Mm-hmm. So what Thor did, while albeit extremely impressive, biggest pull of all time, 100%, I would bet my life that it's real, all of that, it's just not the same thing.
Right.
It's not the same. And we should all like at least just admit that. Like it's just you're in your home gym, bro. Like, yeah, I've had some of my best lifts in my home gym. I don't even put the videos out there because I don't consider that like to be that serious, to be that real. What matters is at the end of 4 days competing at World's Strongest Man, when we go up to that log, can I hit a 485? Is if
Right.
not doing a 485 in my house with the AC on, with my masseuse there, with my log, all that shit, it's like it doesn't mean anything.
Hmm.
We're not playing pickup basketball and calling it the NBA Finals.
Right. Now, have you seen any of Thor's exhibition fights as he's leading up to this?
I have. I've seen a lot of the stuff. He looks very good. He's looking. It seemed like for a while there he wasn't taking it so seriously, or maybe it just took him a while to get in the knack of it, you know. But now, I mean, you look at his feet and you look at his hands. He's moving. He's looking like a boxer. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen. I was so excited to go. Like I was going to be front row, like screaming Freebird hammered, you know. And I was going to be all about it, like complete redneck in Texas. But I'm gonna go compete at Giants Live in Scotland. So I'm gonna miss the fight, but I'll be watching on pay-per-view. I will predict that there's no way it goes to the judges. If it goes to the judges, that means that they both gassed out. Because that's the only thing that would disappoint me in this fight is if they had over a year to prepare and they're not really prepared. Because if they've been working like we think they have, they're gonna come out and whatever. If it's a $40 pay-per-view or a $12, whatever it is, it's going to be very worth it if they both come out there and the fireworks go off and Steffi Cohen brings her cute ass out there and gets, in a fight and all that shit. All that is going to be very, very worth it. The only thing that could make it like a little bit of a disappointment would be if they gassed out.
Right.
And I so hope they don't do that. Please, guys, don't gas out.
I mean, they both been working on their cardio. I mean, you can see that with how much weight they've been losing. I mean, gosh, they both have like 8-pack abs at this point. It's crazy. But I would say that is probably everyone's biggest fear is that, 2 rounds in, they're huffing and puffing.
Well, the adrenaline dump too, that's the thing. Like, I think Thor really did it right where he had public fights, that way he can get worked up, get all crazy, and then realize like, round 2, round 3, when that stuff is like exhausted and the adrenaline's gone, like how can I carry myself? And I don't know everything about Eddie's training, but I do hope that he's putting himself in those positions.
Now, at the end of the day,
playing a lot closer to the vest. He's being a lot more protective of it, but I hope that they're getting the right people in there. They're forcing him into those like deep hours of the fight where he's dying and then making push. So all that stuff we find out, when they line it up.
Now, at the end of the day, we have no idea what's going to happen when those 2 guys get in there. But what's your prediction? Give it to me.
My prediction is Steffi Cohen jumps in and knocks them both out.
Ooh, bold.
Oh yeah.
All right.
No, I would predict. I think Ed's gonna knock him out. I really do. I just feel like after being around the guys a lot, knowing them, Eddie's a much more violent character. Thor is softer on the inside in a good way. Like I'm softer on the inside than Eddie is. I'm not insulting him. Thor's not as abrasive and not. I think Ed will be able to take a punch better than Thor. But then again, like I'm not like super confident. I wouldn't bet the house.
Right. What round do you think?
I think second round.
Second round
over.
All right. Back to what's actually coming up this week. I know you mentioned some of the events that you were looking forward to the most. Is there anything that you see on the roster of events that makes you a little bit hesitant, that you're a little worried about?
Yeah. So like I said, we've got the load and my group's fast. So we've got these 2 wooden barrels that are 100 kilos, 220 pounds. And they're awkward and weird. And I'm a little worried about those. like I said, though, I think the saving grace will be the heavy frame at the end of that. It's all going to just be figured out on the day. I am very happy that I have the squat and not the deadlift, and it hasn't been lost on me that I've got something to prove with that, and so I just get in there and get those done with the finals events. I love all of them. Like my Achilles heel has been the deadlift my whole career. Everyone knows that, and so looking into the finals, of course, I would much rather have it be a squat than a deadlift, but you're not going to have that. But the way that the deadlift is set up, I don't think I'll zero it the way it is. I don't think it's heavy enough for me to zero, so I'll still get a point. But depending on who's in the finals, it seems like a 400 kilo deadlift don't mean much anymore.
Right. Now, you said you're going for a couple of different world records. You're going to go for that log lift world record, and you're going to try for the keg toss, but you don't seem like...
Well, I'll probably have the keg toss world record for a matter of minutes.
Right.
But in those few minutes, I'm going to talk a lot of trash.
I mean, it's for at least one moment you are in the history books.
In the world.
Now, what's your goal for the log? You said 425, is it?
I want my American record back. So it's the last record right now is Bobby Thompson, and he's hit 478.5. So I'll go for 480.
Gotcha. What are your overall expectations for the contest? Who do you see making it to the top three?
It's hard. We have to see who makes it out of the groups. The way the groups are made, man, I'll give you something that sounds crazy. It's possible that Evan beats Tom in the groups. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but with the events and with the way things are and how aggressive Evan is, I think it's possible. And then you get, if that does happen and Trey's in top three, then you get the two greatest stone loaders probably of all time going head to head. And there's been a little bit of controversy. A friend of mine at Starting Strongman said he thought Trey would win in the stones against Tom, and everybody chewed him up. Then Tom came out and said, look, the only person who has any chance against me is Trey. Like everyone was like, oh shit, So if Trey and Tom go to the stones, you're going to see some fucking fireworks. Sorry for cussing. You're going to see some fireworks, but you don't know. I think it's going to be a good year for Shaw. Novikov, obviously, that little freaking savage. He's just such a beast and such a sweethearted dude too. Like he reminds me a lot of Misha Shivakov, where he's very stoic, but like once you kind of get under the armor, like he's silly and he's funny and he's relaxed. So I feel like that kid, someone's going to have to dethrone him. He's not going to give up.
Yeah, and I mean, even if he doesn't end up winning again this year, I mean, he's so young. Like, that's not going to be the last time we see him.
No.
Now, last question before I get you out of here, and I really appreciate your time. You've been super gracious. Tell me, Robert Oberst, why are you going to be the world's strongest man this year?
Why am I? Well, this year I feel as confident as I think I've ever been. I feel really good. Fight through this group, get through this, into the finals. And then in the finals, I think this is the first year that I've really felt that I have a chance to be on the podium, to where even if it's a bronze, silver, gold, like you have no idea how much one of those would mean to me. And I'm coming swinging for it, man. I'm coming swinging as hard as I possibly can.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it. Thank you again so much for your time. Good luck this week, and I hope to talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. Good to see you.
Thanks.